So this is the Fast Track traction products. We have basically the studs, round single backers, double backers, oval like this, lock nuts, you can see here, free toolkit because I use the coupon code SNOW at checkout. So you got the cutter tool and the a little Allen key to hold the studs in place. What else you're going to need is a silver marker, and a hole punch helps to punch out the template. But when you buy your studs from Fast Track, you actually get access to their template library, and you can see here that it's not just randomly placed. They're actually engineered so you get ultimate scratch lines. So you can see here we've got 14 different positions, starting at 1 and so on. You print these templates, you select the one that's pertinent to your track and your sled, and then you basically print them at 100%. And just to double check, you make sure that line measures 7 3/4 inches, which it does. Starting at 10, we're at 17 3/4. So I know that's a perfect fit. And then we're going to hand cut these all out. And once they're hand cut, I'll punch out the holes, and then we'll start placing them on the track and get to business. Pretty simple. They take all the guesswork out of it. I love it. Might have to have an adult help you with this part. Every template, it will be slightly different depending on your application. So you want to make sure you use all of the template that they include. I can't quite get to the center of that, so I'm just going to give a couple slits here to let the punch go a little bit deeper. Because I want to see if I can get that right on center. There we go. All right, I've got the templates all done, and we're just going to start here. So I'm just going to make a note here that this is start, an X. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lay these into the window like that. Moving towards the front of the sled. I'll just set them in, and then we'll worry about now there's 14, so at 7 I'm going to make one dot here to signal 1, and I'm going to make 2 dots here to signal 7, that's half. And then I'll do 3 dots to signal that we're done 14. That way I know we keep in order as we go. And when we get to the end, there should be an extra row. I can just pick the best template to lay in that will give me a different scratch sequence than ones on either side. But this is handy as anything. Look how easy that is. Just snap that in like that. Okay, I'm going to make sure they're all in line here in the center, which is good. And you can see the line down there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our marker pen, and we're going to start marking these. So I'm going to put 3 dots here, so this is 14. So that signifies that we're done the order. Simply just a matter of going in and marking the center of the holes. Okay. Now I got the belt off the sled, remember? So it's easy for me to all these up and spin the track around and keep rolling. There's 3, so we're going to put a 1 here. Where 7 here is 2. And there we go. Spinner again. It's kind of fun. Helps if you make those sound effects too. We're at the start, yay! Start from the back and work my way down. See where we end up here. Because 14 to 1 should be a good scratch line. We'll just see where we, how 12 to 14, or sorry, whatever this is, it would be 9 married to 14, what that looks like. There's 9. Oh yeah, it looks good. If you look here, there's a stud. So actually it's kind of in line. Throw 1 in there. That looks good. So next step is drilling these out. And we just want to drill out all the singles and 1 of the doubles to start. And that's just in case that these, you know, when you're putting the second one down, that you want to make sure that it lines up with the actual backer holes. So we're going to actually lay a scrap backer on it, make a template out of it. So we're good, I'm happy. And there's the end. We need a high-speed drill. So we're going to use electric on this one. This is not your typical drill bit, it's actually a whole track plug remover. This end goes into the chuck. This open window is for cleaning it out. You can just use a screwdriver and just pick out any of the debris that's stuck in the tool, because you want to make sure that tool is clean so that you get a nice clean cut through the track. Regular drills may actually damage your track, so you want to make sure you use the proper tools. And they're free if you use the coupon code SNOW at checkout. So I'm just going to start here. This is going to make short work of this. It kind of burns its way through the track. It's kind of neat. So I guess it must almost cauterize itself as it goes through. So I'm just going to use a screwdriver. Just push it down like that. Get rid of the debris. So again, single one's done and just 1 of the doubles. Good, you can see the center line of the track. So if the template was off a bit, you can see at least where the holes should be, and you can line it up with the center of the track. This thing's going to be insane with the studs. That's the key. It has to be a high-speed drill to get the burning action. It really does. It's also important to keep the bit as perpendicular to the track as you can. Not on an angle like this or like that. So if the track does bend as you're pushing down on it, make sure you angle the drill accordingly as well. So, I talked about that little template, so let's go make it. I'm going to pop some studs in here too. These are 1.375. I got 144 of them. We're not going to go through easy, so I've got a rubber mallet. Yeah, that's easier. Thought it would be. So we'll fire all these two in. Whoop. Playing whack-a-mole. Something you have to watch for. See right here, there's actually a, where did it go? There's actually a little piece of rubber that was over the hole. Make sure that they're gone. That one picked out really easy, but it's these little pieces that may not have come out and are stuck there, because you want to make sure these backers fit flush when you pull them in, and if you have, you know, that big ball of track sitting there, you might not be able to get them tight enough. So just be watching that as you're doing this. The last one of these singles to put in. Okay, so now we're going to take a spare backer that came in the kit, and we're going to use it for positioning of this other hole so that we know that the stud will line up. If you actually drilled off this hole and it was a little bit crooked, you may end up with a crooked stud. Maximum traction, we want to make sure they're all straight up and down. What we're going to do is we're going to drill this backer out so that the actual stud tool can fit through it. And then we'll punch out all the other studs and get right to putting this thing together. And then we'll mark the side that we drilled out so we know. I mean, it's pretty clear which side we drilled. But you never know. And it's easy. Just place that on there. Then move to the next one. Studs in as I go. I'll do maybe 10 or 12 and then but I'm telling you, this is probably one of the easier things I've done on this sled so far. I think it goes without saying, if you're doing this with the skid still installed, just make sure that you're not drilling down into something, part of the skid or anything like that when you're doing this. It's almost easier to do it with the skid out. And really, for the few minutes it takes to pull a skid, you might as well, and you can do some greasing and maintenance on the skid when you've got it out. And one final hole, and one last tip on this final hole, and that is, as you drill it, put your backer on, make sure that stud is flat, and make sure that stud's sticking straight up and down. Because if you got the stud crooked, it's gonna be crooked when you put the second one in. So straighten it up as best you can. I think I said it the other day, is drill perpendicular to the track so that the hole plug that you're pulling out of the track is straight up and down. Okay, I've got 2 studs left, which are probably extras, That's pretty smart of them. And I throw them in the bag with the marker, just in case we need it. But let's get to the good stuff now. So in the toolkit, you also find they give you the tools for the back of the stud. That fits into the back of the stud like that to hold the stud. And then the nuts that are in this kit, since it is only an inch and 1.375, they're actually nylock nuts. So you don't need Loctite on them. If you're using the longer studs with the big shoulder nuts, then you definitely need to use Loctite on them. But in this case, we do not. So it's a simple process. Okay. So we've got a 1/2 inch socket deep. We've got a round backer like that. We've got a nylock nut. We're going to pre-thread. We're going to hold this with our hand underneath. And as we draw this nut down, we're going to look and make sure that the stud is flush into the track. The head is flush, so that there's no chance of an idler wheel catching it and causing damage to the idler wheel. So we're just going to brap this on pretty slow for now, short and steady. I'd rather go on once, not back it off. I'd rather not go in too far. It's probably easier to use the bit, I think. Now look underneath here as you do it. Now there's no torque spec on these like some studs have, and it's because there's no shoulder on these studs. So there's nothing that nut will back up to, if that makes sense. The benefit is that it's not squeezing against itself, it's squeezing the track, so they will grip better than other studs. So that's the benefit of not having a shoulder on it and no torque spec. Nice and straight. See those? Looks really good. You can see the head go right into the track. It's beautiful. So I decided I was going to sit on the stool and do this. And that way I can look in behind easy. I noticed when I was spinning the track around that these ones I could see clearly that they had been set in. Anything on this side of the wall, so to speak. So I figured, why don't I just put them in that way? You know? And that's what I've been doing, and it's been going good. Trick is find whatever's easier for you and faster, and go with it, and everybody wins. You can see exactly when it sets in. I feel like if you had a helper, this would be a lot faster, because one could buzz on the nuts and the other one could just hold the tool and watch the backer. Like your buddy, your son, Penny from the Codcast.
Lord, jeez, I was blowing the beans inside out of my ears. Who's all yous?
Or Johnny Walker. It's the final row. The final row. Whew. But I tell you, you sure do get a feel of it after you do 140 foot. So I find the little 12 volt, this is an 18 volt drill. I find the little 12 volt burnt them on just as good. And it was lighter, so it wasn't as, you know, painful to deal with. Like it's easier to hold that lighter tool. See that? Like you can just, once you get a hang of it, you can just buzz them on. With those ones, I don't mind doing one loose and then tighten them both, because that way the washers will sit in beside each other like that. But just give her a spin twice around just to make sure that we got all of them and that they're set in place. There's the yellow tag, so we've gone around once. Let's just check this side now. They're sexy though. There's the yellow tag, so we've gone around. Okay, I'll make sure those cogs are lined up, and it seems like they are. Now let's put the skid back in and get the show on the road. There. See. Just looking at the gap between the slider and the track here to make sure it's the same on both sides. Not put my pinky in there, and it's the same.
Go for it. Dusted me, bro.